First of all, I want to thank every one of you. We have a full house, 29 primary school head teachers and 15 secondary school head teachers. Is no mean achievement. All of us are here together, and indeed for a worthy cause. We're looking at ways of improving the education sector, and I want to thank every one of you for being able to attend. And it's not something that is new, but I want to congratulate you. Without your support, it would not have been possible. From the time that I got elected as a member of parliament till today, our results have been increasing on the positive. For our constituency, our mean grade has been increasing on the positive every single year. We've been posting better results, and I think this is of course because of the partnership that we've been able to have together, the termly mocks that we've been having, the feeding programs, the sponsorship programs, which of course now we have the top 2 schools, those who are in primary going into secondary, where their secondary education is now fully sponsored, and those who have finished secondary to go to university, that as well is fully sponsored. This is even over and above the normal bursaries. The school diaries, we have the Sheriff Nasir annual awards. I think this is going to be the 8th year now that we're going to be having these awards, and we're just waiting for the KCSE results to come out so that we can be able to set a date and agree mutually on how we are going to go about it. And I think this particular year we had considered doing these awards at the Star of the Sea. If you notice, we have been going around in different areas, and Star of the Sea was an area that had been identified for us to be able to do the awards this year. Last year we were able to come on board, and without the assistance of yourselves, this is the secondary schools where the A Academy students, that is the top students in every school, we were able to send them to camps, and we were able to do so much for them. And then after that, we had the motivational groups, the ones who are on the lower level, so that our mean aggregate does not go very, very low, and we were able to do that. And I remember flying all the way to Taita with His Excellency the Governor for us to be able to give a talk to those students. And I think that worked, and it worked very well. And we will continue with that. We will look for ways and means for us to be able to do this. It is something that we need to do. Without say, I mean, we've come up with the school libraries in every school, and right now we've come up with 5 community libraries. One of them, the building in most of them has already been completed. That is the Sacred Heart School. We have Ronald Gala, Makupa. We were having a bit of an issue with the school sponsors, but I think I personally went and talked to them, the head of the Catholic Church, and we were able to iron out whatever issues that were not very, very clear, and I think we were able to clear the air on that. Chuda Primary, we've been able to renovate that premises. Right now we have just given out tenders for the furnishing of these schools, and if we're able to finalize the furnishing of these schools, these libraries will be up and running. We are looking at putting e-books in these libraries as well. We're going to have Kindle readers where it will be eventually cheaper, because we can be able to have a larger content base on those Kindle readers. We already have about 18,000 books in hard copy, but now we are now looking at when we open these libraries that we have some Kindle readers, and by the way, these libraries are going to be sole operated, and the reason is very simple. We want a situation where if someone is living in Bondeni area but the child studies in a school in Chuda area, the child does not have to go all the way from Bondeni to Chuda. The child can be able to walk into Beheni, and we've even now said that we are living in a community that is very sensitive. We want a school like Beheni to be a fully girl library, so that those parents who feel that their children they are better and safer with a female librarian, and you know, so we don't break the cultures and the values, we are going to do that in that area. And there's going to be solar, it's going to be solar operated, so that in the event that we don't have power in the neighborhood, a child can still go to the nearest library. And these are 6 community libraries within the whole of Mvita constituency. it is enough geographical location, it is enough for anyone to be able to walk somewhere close and will be able to do it. And of course, right now, we had mentioned this, and this is something that has already been done on trial in some schools. We are now engaging totally. We have realized one of the biggest problems that we have faced is school absenteeism, where students are known to be in school, but in actual fact, they're not in school. And now, I know that most of the students will not love me for this, but I think it is vital for us to do it. We are now going to introduce eye scanners in all the schools. And this particular time, the eye scanners will be for a selected amount of schools. Then we will go to the next lot of schools as well, where once a child gets to school, we don't want a child to go and say that, they left home at 6 in the morning, then they're going to school at 10. Once a child gets to school, your eye is immediately scanned, and immediately it is scanned, your parent receives a notification that the child, and the notification is on real time. So if the child came at 8:07, then at 8:07 that parent will receive an SMS that your child is in school. Now when your child leaves school at 4 o'clock, we don't want to be told that there are some schools or Toto at very late hours, and in actual fact probably it is the child themselves. So the time that the child leaves school as well, that child, a notification will be sent to the parent that your child has left school. And there is no issues of anything else. It will be your eye that will be scanned. It will be a retina scan. It's the safest mode of scanning, and we're doing this for their own good. We're doing this for their own good. Eventually, we're a very digital constituency. Eventually, from that same platform and that same mobile phone, a parent can be able to now, instead of just going into chat groups, they can be able to access and see how the child's performance is. Over the years, this will be built up. It will be a platform where you can not only see the level of your child's performance, but also the time that they've been able to report. Now, lastly, well, not lastly, but this is something that we're going to leave as an icon. And I'm glad, once again, that if it was not for the support of the teachers from Mvita Constituency, I'd never be able to do this. I'm very, very, truly happy that we now have our Mwalimu House already on course. We had waited for a long time, and one of the reasons why this project delayed is why we are here today, and that is the issue of school boards. We had a problem with some of the boards when we wanted to put up this project, and I went there, the governor went there, and we tried to explain to the boards that we had a problem. We had a huge problem. And some of them went to the extent that, they came up with very negative remarks. And the problem is because if you are not going to choose board members whose caliber will be able to match your own, whose caliber will not be able to match the development agenda that we have for the constituency, then it becomes a problem. We need to have these boards that are going to be at par with what is happening around us. Now that property belongs to the teachers of Mvita Constituency. All the members in that board that are going to be running, and they've already started that project, it is already at a reasonable stage. All of them are teachers, none of them is me. And tomorrow, or 10 years from now, 20 years from now, the teachers of Mvita Constituency will still have their own property and asset that will be there. So that we don't have situations where if a teacher is sick, we start having to look for harambes, or we get our teachers dying because there's nothing to be able to pay their bills. There is totally nothing wrong in us giving back to the teachers of Mvita Constituency. I'm personally proud of this particular investment that we've been able to do, and I'm looking forward that by next year we'll be able to launch it in a very, very grand manner. Needless to say, as Hussein Khalid was stating it, we now want to engage these students at a very, very early age, and we need your support and your input. We need students to start realizing their role in society. Some of these students, you might consider them as students, but in actual fact, legally, they are adults. And this is especially for those who are in secondary schools. So we need them to start realizing at an early age what their role is in society. So that once they finish their secondary schools, they're not going to go out there and start doing things on a trial basis. But then they know and they have been nurtured into taking up positions that are rightfully theirs within society. And this, whatever we've been able to do, of course, has gone in both the sponsored schools and the non-sponsored schools. And it is only right for all of you to know, out of the 29 primary and 15 secondary schools, I know we've not been able to do everything in every school. But St. Augustine School is one of the schools that has benefited from our CDF, and it was unfortunate they had a fire. Ganjoni Primary is another institution that has benefited. Their student population exceeds the amount of space that they have, and it is only natural that the students need toilets. And unfortunately, because of the space that which they are in, that school has now ended up being one of the first schools that is going to have a multi-story building that is just going to be toilets, because they don't have space. And we've had to invest that money because we want a hygienic environment. And I think it's at an advanced stage as well. The building is at an advanced stage. Mvita Boys Secondary, and I know we have had our issues as to when we are going to be officially opening. This public money that was put in, and the CDFC of Mvita Constituency put in that money, so we need to know when that new wing is going to be opened. I know we've invested with Sheikh Abdullah Farsi so that we can get up new wings and the kitchen block as well. Of course, every school, every public school, we were able to put up a library just for the school itself. This is not even the commercial libraries that we're talking about, but just the school library itself. Now, currently, what we want to do currently, and this is the proposal that has already gone out, decisions were based on school population vis-a-vis the needs. And that is the reason why a school like Majengo Primary is a school that has been identified to be able to be money to be invested in, so that the school can have a revamp. We are already in partnership with the Elimu Foundation, who had already done the first initial site, and they changed the face of that school. We now want the other side of the school, the face, to be changed as well. And we are saying that there is an importance of the girl-child education. Girl-child education is going to be vital. Educate a girl child and you're educating a whole community. Educate the boy, you're educating himself. So for the girl-child education, we want Mbeheni and Bundeni to become centers of excellence for the girl child. And that is the reason why, again, we are investing heavy amounts of money to be able to convert the schools. The way we want to go as a constituency is to come up with a lean way of working out things. Instead of coming up with new structures, improve on existing structures. Make sure that the structures that are currently there will be used to maximum levels. And it is for that reason I had set up a task force, and that task force included UNIS, it included members from the Ministry of Education, it included members from the County Education Department, and the whole concept was very simple. We need secondary schools, we don't have the space for secondary schools. 78% of the students who come from primary schools have nowhere else to go. They don't go to secondary schools. So we only have 22% of students who finish primary are the ones who go into secondary school. So the question is, where are these others going to? It's a very, very huge gap. And look at the amount of schools themselves within the constituency. Just in the public domain alone, it's 29 versus 15. At the same time, when the team went round, the team that was constituted by myself and His Excellency the Governor, it went round. And it is for that reason that Ziwani and Bahari were allocated, and we said, these schools, You cannot, it is impossible. You cannot run a primary school with a student population of less than 100 or 105 or 110. And then within the neighboring areas, there are schools that are swarming up. They don't even have space. So there's something not right. And I went to those schools and I had a word with the school management of those particular schools, and we will talk to the new boards of these schools to inform them of our desire that it is only fair that instead of having buildings that are going to be used as ghost buildings where there are no students, let us take the students, consolidate them in the other schools that are nearby, that has space, that can be able to accommodate the students, and taxpayers' money, instead of building up new schools, let us convert existing schools into proper state-of-the-art secondary schools. And that school, already 30 million shillings has already been allocated, 10 million from the CDF, 10 million from the county government, and 10 million from a private institution. So that makes it 30 million, and we cannot be able to do anything because we did not have the land to be able to put up that secondary school. And if we start saying that we want to buy land or build on playing grounds, then what that means is that our children will have nowhere to play. If I start building on a primary, on a ground that the students of Central Girls are playing or the students of Chuda are playing, then that means the students will have nowhere to play. We will be having concrete jungles within our schools. So let us maximize on every single resource that is available to us. And lastly, what we are also planning to do is ensure that our students start taking their identity cards from schools. So there's going to be a campaign we're going to be doing where those who are in charge of identity card issuance can be able to issue the students with their identity cards from school level. And I think once we are able to do that, then those children cannot be able to go out and start getting problems and being hustled because they do not have this or that paperwork. Everything will be done with the help of the school. So if you know that you have a child who is 18 and above in your school, it is only fair that you ensure that that child is assisted. Because even for that child to go into university, watapata shida without those IDs. I have cases coming to my office where a child has been given full scholarship and sponsorship to go to a university, but they can't do it because they don't have their IDs with them. So this is vital for to ensure that our children can be able to not have a problem once they're out of schools.